Hello, hello, and welcome, my Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your What Do I Need read for this full moon in Gemini to new moon next in Sagittarius. Last day of November into December 2020. I'm your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, Pisces moon. I'm in this one with you, most likely. The Archangel of Lions, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hi. Hi, my fishy family, my mermaids, my mermen, my Ethel mermen. Hi. I love you all. I love you all, my fishy mer family. Let's get down to business, shall we? This is the last read in the series for this full moon in Gemini and a new moon next in Sagittarius. A waning moon read. What do I need read? 7-card draw. 7 different decks, 1 card each. Clues, tips, and hints about what the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign needs to let go of, to deal with, to look at, to be aware of within themselves, outside of themselves. 7 interconnecting pieces of what? 3 healing systems, 2 oracles, 2 tarot decks of what you need to deal with this waning moon. Cool. It's a general read. Please take what resonates, leave what doesn't. My subscribers, thank you so much for your love and support as always. Please do like the video. If all of my subscribers just like the video, more people will see it. But if you are new to my channel and you like it, please hit the thumbs up. If you like me, please subscribe. I'm getting ready to do the True Love readings next, and there will be an extended version of that on VIMEO.com. I'm doing part 1 here on the phone. I'm doing part 2 with the HD camera and the intro, outro music because I miss it, and it'll be a really fun week for me. So let's get up in this gig. All the decks that I read are in the description box at the bottom. Please check them out. There's other good links on the way down there, things connected. Probably I try and make them synchronistically guided, what I put in the description box. Otherwise, let's rock and roll. Focus on your breath. It's general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Check your other signs, because your moon or your sun, you're just going to get different info from different angles, maybe about the same thing. So particularly the way I like these What Do I Need reads. They're not the most popular thing that I do, but they're like spiritual counseling. These are the kind of readings that you do for yourself, right? Pick a card of the day. What do I need today, right? But on a much larger scale with all y'all fishies, let's do this. Breathe. My beloved pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need 1 card in clarity. A Caroline Myss archetype card. What is the dominant archetype that the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs most need to alchemize, deal with, heal, from shadow to light, lead to gold? This new moon in full moon in Gemini. Ooh, where'd that come from? Full moon in Gemini to new moon next in Sagittarius. Interesting. November, December 2020. You got the engineer archetype. Now, this could be you. This could be somebody you're dealing with. This could be a situation. Could be any part of that and all of it together. Creative family archetype, the engineer. Though I do not think of myself as an engineer in terms of the literal. That's archetypes for you. Sometimes, right? Like, what's a social engineer? Right? Engineering a plot, engineering a strategy. Now, the shadow to light. Lead has 3 more atoms than gold, so waning moon. You want to wane, burn off, transform 3 of those extra atoms to get from lead, an insulator, to gold, a conductor, right? To higher vibe, if you like. The shadow attribute, reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequence. Now, sometimes with Pisces, when we're overloaded, particularly Pisces moon, we can be like, fuck it, whatever it takes, I don't care anymore. Fuck them all, right? I get it. It's natural. And if you're an empath, how many people are feeling exactly that, right, on planet Earth right now? Like, without regard for emotional consequences. That's when you're a Pisces and in shark mode, not dolphin, right? Dolphin and shark. Technically, they're not fish. Light attributes, ability to give creative energy a practical expression. I think that's way more up our alley. Talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas, particularly if it's done somewhat intuitively, right? It's like, yeah, I know, we usually do it that way, but I don't know. This feels better this way. Let's try this, right? Particularly, I'm feeling giving creative energy practical expression, right? Well, we could do this and we could do that. And whoa, like, you know, when you open up the fridge and you don't know what you want and you're hungry though, and it's like, well, there's nothing I can just eat as is. All right, so what if I take this, and this, right? It's like, I'm hungry. Here's a creative solution. right? And suddenly you're feeding 5 people with what you didn't think, you know, you could pull off. Simple way of looking at it, right? Let's see what the angels have to say. The angels and the archangels. What is the healing angel you most need to call upon this full moon, new moon next? Breathe. My angels and archangels of water in the sign of Pisces, please one card in clarity for the Piscean collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. What's the angel we most need to call upon this full moon in Gemini to new moon next to help us heal this engineer archetype from shadow to light in ourselves, in another, in a situation, in all of that, in some of that, for our well-being and for the well-being of all? Ooh, divine timing. Nobody's favorite card, but it's good to know. Well, everything's in divine timing. If God is all, if all is one, then divine timing is not just interwoven, it's just part of it, right? So if there is a patience aspect to this, right? We'll see what other cards hit the table, but certainly there is something in play here. There is a strategy, a machination, something that might have been stuck, but there's an element of divine timing. So some of that stuckness might be that there's a weight here for a reason, a purpose, a season, a lifetime. You don't know yet, at least. But for you to really tap into your own creative process in here. But well, if you're an empath, you're a Pisces, chances are you are. You at least have some empathic skill. We all do. Everybody has some empathic skill. But Pisces, it's heightened, right? We are the last sign of the zodiac, the elder. We have, in a way, been every other sign in the zodiac because of that. So we can really empathize with anybody. Also, a deep connection to the collective unconscious, right? And that's why we're so fucking, I hate the word psychic, but you know what I mean. It means of the psyche. It's not that big of a deal, the word. So let's keep going. If that's the angel, what would the angel of divine timing do as a healing angel? It's healing with the angel's oracle. It would be like saying, all right, well, then can you show me some examples of divine timing so I can kind of find my way through this? And that's when you start getting synchronicities and songs on the radio. And like, it happens all the time. I'll be typing something on my laptop with the TV on, and the person on the TV will say the word that I'm actually typing, though completely out of context, right? I'm like, okay, right place, right time. Because, you know, some plots take time if you're engineering a creative solution or a strategy, right? So let's see how this goes. Daughters of the Moon Tarot, what's going on inside of you that you need to be aware of from the goddesses, the divine yin, the divine feminine? Breathe. My goddesses of water. In the sign of Pisces, please, one card in clarity for this Piscean collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign. What do they need to be aware of? What do they need to embrace inside of themselves is usually the case. This full moon in Gemini to new moon next in Sagittarius, November into December 2020. We got the engineer archetype and the angel of divine timing. What is it that they need to embrace within themselves? Okay, well, Wheel of Fortune in this deck is called the Spider Woman. So there is something fated / destined. Now, there is a difference between fate and destiny. It's just in a general reading, it's hard to tell which is which, right? Because fate is what you can't change. It's something written in the divine plan. Now, this is also very much a divine timing card for me, so sort of a double whammy. Now, the thing is what's going to play out is going to play out. It may not be what you want to play out, but you need to deal with inside of yourself that there is a change happening. That the difference between fate and destiny. Fate is when the hero does not hear or heed the call to the hero's journey, the hero's adventure. So therefore they suffer their fate. Always disastrous. What happened when Luke said no to Obi-Wan, right? Stand, people. Right? So it's a good example. Destiny is what happens if you heed the call, if you take the call, if you allow the wheel to turn. So there is definitely a fated, F-A-T-E-D, or a destined, it depends up to you. There's alchemy for you, the lead of fate or the gold of destiny. It takes great courage, it takes growth, and it takes going with the divine timing of things, even if that divine timing is not wait, but now, right? This might be a now thing as well. You can't really tell with these cards on the table. And again, in a general reading, there are like hundreds of thousands of you all I'm reading, if not millions, right? What's 1/12 of the population? And then you add in moon signs and all that. What does this look like on the outside? Mythic Tarot, Juliet Sherman Burke's deck. I love this deck. Breathe. my gods of water, and the sign of Pisces, the divine masculine, the yang force, please. One card in clarity for the Piscean collective sun, moon, rising, Venus signs. What do they need to be aware of outside of themselves? They've got the engineer archetype on the table, divine timing, the healing angel of divine timing. The goddesses are talking about the wheel of fortune, the spider woman, however all the threads and of the web are interconnected, and one moves, they all move, right? Just like the turning of the wheel here. So please, what do they need to be aware of outside of themselves, either in their own externalization of this internal thing or just what's going on around them? This full moon in Gemini, new moon next in Sagittarius, November, December 2020. Six of Swords. Now, it's an air card. Swords are air. So we're looking at a mental journey here, going from turbulent water to smooth. This can be a mental balance, maybe through meditation, though there are other cards that say that a bit clearer, but this could be through the rite of confession. This could be through journaling. This could be, remember, it's a creative archetype here. So a creative way, a strategy in which one moves from more turbulent emotions to more calmer waters via thought, right? A mental journey, a process. Now, we don't have the gondola here as we usually see it with the woman, and we think a child next to them with the guy, you know, rowing the boat, the gondola with a big pole, got a big pole. This is very different. This is somebody really making progress towards their goal, but only at a 6, but they've got their balance. They're standing in a boat in choppy water, so they definitely have their balance and their focus here. So I really feel like anything you can do to soothe the mind about the outside world or anybody else's in terms of, hey, it's a journey, it's a process, it's a learning curve. This feels very hero's journey-ish though, particularly with that Wheel of Fortune on the inside. Gotta say, Spider Woman. Nice costume, Jess. Let's Jessica Drew, it's a Marvel reference, deal with me. Pisces. Whispers of Love Oracle. The voices of the Ascended Masters. Now, there are 4 suits in this deck. There is Healing, Luck, Grace, and the Problem. The Problem suit is half of the deck, so it's good to know what the problem is, but let's see what we get for you from the Ascended Masters. What you need to be aware of. You'll hear it in the prayer. Breathe. My Ascended Masters, please, one card in clarity. For the Piscean collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, what is the piece of luck that they need to see that's in front of them that might not be aware of? What is the piece of healing that is available to them that they need to embrace and implement? What is the piece of grace that is permeating this situation that they need to tune themselves to and flow with? Or what is the piece of the problem that they need to acknowledge, deal with this full moon in Gemini to new moon next in Sagittarius, November, December 2020. Independence. Now, independence, you'd think that would be like a healing card or a grace card. It's not. It's a problem card. This is the problem. This might not be you, though, although what we see here is somebody who took a boat to an island to get the fuck away from everybody, surrounded by water, our element, and then pushing the boat back. It's like, fuck you. I don't want anything to do with you. So a real independent thing. Now, I've been going through this in my life this year with getting rid of toxic people. Actually, they're going. I'm just letting them go. I'm like, bye. Bye, Felicia. Right? But see ya. Wouldn't want to wouldn't want to see ya. So be careful with this. Now, if this is somebody pulling this with you, then the engineer takes on a whole other different role here in terms of how do I interact with this person, right? What is the strategy? How do I do this? But is this part of a strategy, right? A mechanistic solution without regard for emotional consequences, possibly your own. In other words, we think that the opposite of codependence is independence, but that's not really true. Independence is it can be a form of revenge, right? It's like, I don't fucking need any of you people. I hope you all burn in hell, right? I've done it. Sicilian blood, of course I've done it. Oh yeah, and the rest is Irish and German, so you know, very the calm people, right? least we got the Canadian French in there. Thank you, Grandma Margie. So with that card of independence there, it's something that you look, like, could I be a little bit more Virgo'd up for you all? Virgo sun that I am, Pisces moon that I am. Yeah, that thing of independence, look, it's something you may have to go through. I don't feel like this is the hermiting of the going into the cocoon or something like that. I feel like this is like, fuck you. It has a little fuck you to it. And maybe because of the divine timing, right? There's only so much control you have here. So the only sense of control that you or maybe someone else has is to really just pull back. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Ooh, look at him, covered in solar plexus. If someone has done this, it's not personal. I definitely get that. This is, if you are dealing with this shadow engineer and somebody else, like a divine masculine perhaps, and they're just pulling this independent gig, it's not personal. It's the world right now. There is fear in there that the only way people know how to deal with, I don't need anybody. It's not true. Yeah, try and pull that off in unity consciousness. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But it's a necessary stage that we go through. You know, the ego is being unraveled by all of this uncertainty and all of this fear. And, you know, the more that we can love ourselves and be gentle with ourselves, honestly, and allow divine timing to unfold, we're going to see some really amazing stuff ahead of us that we want. That is satisfying and fulfilling. And that's why I feel like that destiny card is there, if you want to call the Wheel of Fortune that destiny thing, but it's a timing thing. So look, if you've pulled back to take space for yourself in a healthy way, right, that's a strategy that you have for yourself. Like they use a great word here, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas, right? If it's a quick resolution to take a break, that's one thing. There's nothing toxic about that at all. But with a problem card, it can really be a very, very painful thing. But if you're an empath, you remember, maybe 2% of it is your emotion. The rest of it might be all of life, right? Most of humanity. Let's keep going. 2 more cards left. This should really clarify. Whispers of Love Oracle. Like, is this romantic? I don't know. But if it is, this will say something about it. The voices of the higher selves, 5th dimension and above. So like 8th chakra and upward. Breathe. The higher selves have all involved, possibly my own. I don't necessarily see myself in here, but I could, I guess. It's not really resonating for me so much in the body. So please, 1 card in clarity for the Piscean collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, perhaps myself included. This full moon in Gemini to new moon next in Sagittarius, November 2020. We got the engineer on the table with divine timing, right? And timing and engineering, such a thing. Right? Like, you just can't have the wheel until someone, creates the pulley and the inclined plane and the lever. God, this shit you remember from grade school. But there is this wheel turning inside of them as well with this divine timing thing. The Wheel of Fortune within them. Every thread of the web, right, is essential right now on the inside, leading us somewhere. With that 6 of Swords, from choppy to smoother waters, more peaceful mind going on here. And with that independence, oh yeah, look, they're both in boats. You didn't even see that. They're both in boats, right? So maybe a little bit of travel here, although I feel like it's more internal than external, mental than physical. So please, higher selves of all involved, what is a piece of information, inspiration, or insight the Piscean collective really, really need from their higher selves this full moon in Gemini, new moon next in Sagittarius, November 2020. It's a long prayer, but it's worth it, right? Physical touch is important. Now it lightens it up a little bit than where I just went, but for some of us, nothing is more important than a tender touch to the tender parts. The tender parts. This might include a pat on the back from behind, or giving a hug to someone who needs it. Reach around. Look, this definitely has this feeling of in your independence, right? If this is you, that there is an element of physical touch here that's going on, something that is tactile. Now, the thing about this kind of touch that I'm vibing on here, remember, we got 1 more card to hit the table. You can't really get that being stuck in independence. You can't. This could be somebody wanting to establish that physical touch is important to them where you are concerned, or vice versa. This does have that feeling about it. Now look, there are other cards that can say you need a massage, right? Or you need to do yoga. There's certainly other cards that can do that. I feel like this is relationship based. I feel like this may not necessarily be romantic, although I don't see how it couldn't be. I'm just not the vibe that I'm getting there, because why else would you pull that independence thing, right? And now it's like you need to know. It's like your higher self is saying, no, physical touch is important. Yes, make sure you are nurturing yourself, but, you know, I want you. I don't want anybody else. And when I think about you, I touch myself. Oh, now I need Trixie and Katya to lip sync to that song, both of them at the same time. The Ascended Masters, please talk to us through the Matt Kahn Healing Mantra deck. What is our perfect healing mantra here? Like that physical touch card. I'm like, okay, I'm back in. Like, I wasn't sure. Yeah, okay. I'll see if this is about me. What is our perfect healing mantra for the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs this full moon in Gemini and new moon next in Sagittarius, November into December 2020. We've got the Engineer archetype, we've got Divine Timing, Wheel of Fortune, Spider Woman on the inside, Jessica Drew in her red suit, her red costume, the Six of Swords on the outside, moving from choppy to smooth waters, the card of Independence, which is a problem here somehow, but physical touch is important. So please, what is our perfect healing mantra? The Ascended Masters, who gave us that card of Independence for our well-being and for the well-being of all. Expressing free will. Don't forget you have free will in here. My choices determine how brightly I shine. Oh, how interesting. The Aquarian reading had this. I put it in the title, right? The free will mantra here. And it really is about how brightly do you want to shine. And because you're not the Engineer here, this might not, right? It might be a simple thing, right? Simple solutions for common dilemmas, problems. My choices determine how brightly I shine. When free will is expressed, the quality of your experiences is based not on the actions of others, but on how wisely and lovingly each moment is viewed. So it's really talking about this moment by moment by moment, right? The Engineer seeing a creative way through this, but maybe from a place of independence, now seeing it differently in terms of what action to take, right? It doesn't match the unconsciousness of others or fight to have the last word. Instead, free will conveys the brightness of your soul through the sum of your words and actions, even when responding to those who aren't acting their best. And that's why I feel like this may be you pulling back, but this is probably somebody that you have some sort of physical relationship with. Now, look, I can certainly, I mean, there's nothing screaming sexual romantic here except the vibe for, I think, a lot of the Pisceans with that physical touch card. We're not done with this, though. The reading here, let me read the rest of it. This mantra is ideal for overcoming feelings of disempowerment, fulfilling personal goals, and becoming more ambitious. Like, I do feel like there is definitely a relationship here where it might be a creative partnership, maybe because of distance. You can't literally put your hands on the things that you are collaborating with if it's being done in that way. I mean, you can only go so far digitally. But with expressing free will, it says that this is a really good mantra. My choices determine how brightly I shine. So here, let me put it together. It makes sense. It just clicked in, right? Oh, I love doing this. What I do is I shuffle the cards and I give you a blessing in the order the cards end up in my hand. Take a nice deep breath. May the Piscean collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that we need this full moon in Gemini, the new moon next in Sagittarius, November into December 2020, that we may embrace the wheel of fortune, the fate, the destiny, the divine timing that's unfolding within us as we move mentally from rougher, more confusing, choppy waters into the smooth sailing of clarity, as we understand that as we express our free will, our choices determine how brightly we shine, as we alchemize this Engineer archetype within ourselves, another situation, or all of that from something, well, from this independence of solutions that don't honor feelings or consider them, to one that is more creative, more simple, more in alignment with divine timing. And may we all be blessed with the physical touch that we need to heal, to grow, to learn, to become, to evolve this situation, to alchemize from lead to gold, all that needs to be alchemized within us this waning moon period for our well-being, for the well-being of those we love, and for the well-being of all of life. So mote it be. And so it is. I will say this is a vague reading. I will say it's a vague reading because you really got divine timing twice. Essentially said their physical touch is important. It's the only thing that feels really grounded here. So you've got a lot of free will and choice here, but remember, will means choice, willpower. What will you do? What won't you do? So please comment. Let me know who's the engineer here and what's the strategy, if you can, right? Like, if it's a strategy you don't want anybody to know about, I can understand you not wanting to make a comment on YouTube about it. But otherwise, you know, please like if this clicked for you. If you like me, subscribe. If you feel like to comment, you want to share it. Otherwise, wishing you all the very, very best and the very, very blessed, my Mer family, for this full moon to new moon next. Hail. Farewell, my fishies, and blessed be.